In a small, forgotten neighborhood on the edge of a busy American city lived a man named Daniel Brooks. Most people passed him every day without noticing him. He worked as a street cleaner, pushing a heavy cart before sunrise while the rest of the city was still asleep. His clothes were old, his hands were rough, and his paycheck was barely enough to survive. But Daniel carried something priceless inside his heart, a dream for his young daughter, Emily. Every morning at 5 a.m., Daniel quietly left their tiny apartment so he wouldn't wake her. He cleaned sidewalks, picked up trash, and worked long hours under the hot sun and freezing winter winds. Some days, people ignored him. Some days, they complained about things he couldn't control. Still, Daniel never argued. He simply smiled and kept working, because every dollar he earned meant another chance for his daughter to have a better life. Emily was 8 years old and believed her father could fix anything. To her, he wasn't poor, he was a hero. Every evening she waited by the window, watching for him to come home. When Daniel finally walked through the door, exhausted and covered in dust, Emily would run into his arms and ask about his day. No matter how tired he was, he always said, "It was a good day." Daniel never finished school when he was young. Life forced him to work too early. Because of that, he promised himself that Emily would never have to give up her education. He saved coins in an old glass jar, labeled Emily's Future. Sometimes he skipped meals just to add a few extra dollars into that jar. One cold winter evening, Emily noticed her father sitting quietly at the table without eating dinner. She asked, "Dad, aren't you hungry?" Daniel smiled gently and replied, "I already ate at work." But the truth was different. He had used his dinner money to buy her school supplies for the next semester. Life became harder when Daniel suddenly collapsed at work one afternoon. Years of physical labor had taken a toll on his body. The doctor told him he needed rest, something Daniel could not afford. Missing work meant missing rent payments. Bills started piling up. The small apartment felt heavier with worry every day. For the first time, Emily saw fear in her father's eyes. That night, while Daniel slept on the couch, she sat beside him and realized how much he had sacrificed for her. In that quiet moment, she made a promise to herself. One day, she would change their lives. As the years passed, Emily studied harder than anyone around her. While other teenagers spent time at parties or scrolling on their phones, she spent late nights studying under a dim lamp. She remembered every sacrifice her father had made, every silent struggle he tried to hide behind his smile. Graduation day finally arrived. Emily stood on stage as the top student in her class. When her name was announced, she searched the crowd until she saw Daniel sitting in the back row, wearing his only formal shirt. Tears filled his eyes as the audience applauded. In that moment, Daniel felt richer than anyone in the world. Emily earned a scholarship to a prestigious university. College life wasn't easy. She worked part-time jobs, studied late into the night, and refused to give up. Her motivation was simple. She wanted to give her father the life he never had. Years later, a black car stopped in front of their old apartment building. Neighbors watched curiously as a confident young woman stepped out. It was Emily, now a successful engineer. She walked upstairs, opened the door, and found her father sitting in the same chair he had used for years. Daniel looked up, surprised. Emily smiled, placed a set of house keys into his hands, and said softly, "Dad, you don't have to work anymore." Daniel's hands trembled as he held the keys. He whispered, "I only wanted you to have opportunities I never had." Emily hugged him tightly and replied, "You didn't just give me opportunities, you gave me strength." That day, Daniel realized something important. Wealth is not measured by money or status. True wealth is the love, sacrifice, and hope a parent gives to their child. Sometimes the quietest heroes are the ones the world barely notices, but their sacrifices build the future. Because behind every successful child, there is often a parent who chose struggle, so their child could choose dreams.